Welcome to my class of cloud computing. Today we will learn about the technologies for network based system part 2. In earlier class we have already discussed one technology for network based system. Today we will learn about other technologies. Technologies for network based systems are multi-core CPU and multi-threading technologies, GPU computing to exascale and beyond, memory, storage and wide area networking, virtual machine and virtualization hardware, middleware, data center virtualization for cloud computing. We have already covered multi-core CPU and multi-threading technologies. Today we will start with GPU computing to exascale and beyond. Now the question arises, what is GPU computing? GPU computing is general purpose computing on graphics processing units, GPU, or we sometimes call it GPGP, is the use of a graphics processing unit, GPU, which typically handles computation only for computer graphics to perform computation in applications traditionally handled by the central processing unit. The use of multiple video cards in one computer or large number of graphics chips further paralyzes the already parallel nature of graphics processing. In addition, even a single GPU CPU framework provides advantages that multiple CPU on their own do not offer due to the specialization in each chip. Essentially, a GPU pipeline is a kind of parallel processing between one or more GPUs and CPUs that analyze data as if it were in image or other graphics form. While GPUs operate at lower frequency, they typically have many times the number of cores. Thus, GPU can process far more pictures and graphical data per second than a traditional CPU. Migrating data into graphical form and then using the GPU to scan and analyze it can create a large speedup. GPU pipelines were developed at the beginning of the 21st century for graphics processing. These pipelines were found to fit scientific computing needs well and have since been developed in this direction. In principle, an arbitrary Boolean function, including those of addition, multiplication, and other mathematical functions, can be built up from a functionally complete set of logical operators. In 1987, Conway's Game of Life became one of the first examples of general purpose computing using an early stream processor called a blitter to invoke a special sequence of logical operations on bit vendors. General purpose computing on GPUs became more practical and more popular after about 2001 with the advent of both programmable shaders and floating point support on graphics processors. Notably, problems involving matrix or vectors, especially 2, 3, or 4 dimensional vectors, were easy to translate to a GPU which act with native speed and support on those type. The scientific computing community experiments with the new hardware began with a matrix multiplication routine, one of the first common scientific programs to run faster on GPUs than CPUs was an implementation of LU factorization. This is about GPU. GPU virtual desktop infrastructure is a great way to deliver desktop and apps to worker. But in the past, it's only been viable if those workers use application that don't rely on complex graphics or video rendering. VDI is not ideal for delivering the type of performance power users need to accomplish work with apps that display complex graphics. That's where Virtual Graphics Processing Unit VGPU card comes in. A VGPU renders the graphics on a backend server rather than on the actual endpoint device. As a result, the server expends the resource to deliver graphics instead of the laptop, PC, or mobile device the user is running. The device will run more smoothly because it can focus on CPU. As with most of the technologies, picking the right product is a key to successfully implementing GPU virtualization. The use of multiple video cards in one computer or large number of graphics chips further paralyzes the already parallel nature of graphics processing. In addition, even a single GPU CPU framework provides advantages that multiple CPUs on their own do not offer due to the specialization in each chip. This is the diagrammatic representation of GPU and CPU. In CPU, there is start, then CPU data preparation, and then after CPU data preparation, it is uploaded to GPU, where GPU data is run and then it is downloaded to CPU data and then output result is displayed. So all the processing occurs in GPU and the result is sent to CPU data. This is the working of GPU. GPU computing is the use of a graphics processing unit as a coprocessor to accelerate CPUs for general purpose scientific and engineering computing. The GPUs accelerates applications running on the CPU by offloading some of the compute intensive and time consuming portions of the code. The rest of the application still runs on the CPU. From a user's perspective, the application runs faster because it is using the massively parallel processing power of the GPU to boost performance. This is known as heterogeneous or hybrid computing. A CPU consists of 4 to 8 CPU cores, while the CPU consists of hundreds of smaller cores. Together, they operate to crunch through the data in the application. This massively parallel architecture is what gives the GPU its high compute performance. There are a number of GPU accelerated applications that provide in an easier way to access high performance computing. Now, if we compare GPU computing versus CPU computing, we found that a simple way to understand the difference between a GPU and CPU is to compare how they process tasks. A CPU consists of a few cores optimized for sequential serial processing, while a GPU has massively parallel architecture consisting of thousands of smaller, more efficient cross designed for handling multiple tasks simultaneously. GPUs have thousands of cores to process parallel workloads efficiently. The GPU accelerates specifies running on the CPU by offloading some of the compute intensive and time consuming portions of the code. The rest of the application still runs on the CPU. From a user's perspective, the application runs faster because it is using the massively parallel processing power of the GPU to boost performance. This is known as heterogeneous or hybrid computing. A CPU consists of 4 to 8 CPU cores, while the GPU consists of a number of smaller cores. Together, they operate to crunch through the data in the application. This massively parallel architecture is what gives the GPU its high compute performance. There are a number of GPU accelerated applications that provide an easy way to access high performance computing HPC. Application developers harness the performance of the parallel GPU architecture using a parallel programming model. GPUs are designed as computational accelerator or companion processors optimized for scientific and technical computing applications. The latest GPUs are based on the latest implementation of the CUDA platform called the Fermi architecture. Fermi has key computing features such as 500 plus gigabytes of IEEE standard double precision floating point hardware support. Graphics chips started as fixed function graphics pipeline. Over the year, these graphics chips became increasingly programmable, which led to introduce the first GPU. In the 1999 to 2000 time frame, computer scientists along with researchers in fields such as medical imaging and electromagnetics started using GPUs to accelerate a range of scientific applications. This was the advent of the movement called GPGU, or General Purpose Computing. The challenge was that the GPGU required the use of graphics, providing languages like OpenGL and CG to program from the GPU. Developers had to make their scientific applications look like graphics applications and map them into problems that drew triangles and polygons. This limited the accessibility to the tremendous performance of GPUs for science. So, this is all about GPU computing. We have learned everything about GPU. How GPU is more efficient than CPU, that also is clear. Now we move to GPU computing to exascale and beyond. A GPU is a graphics coprocessor or accelerator mounted on a computer graphics or video card. A GPU offloads the CPU from a tedious graphics task into video editing applications. The world's first GPU, the GeForce 256, was marketed by NVIDIA in 1999. The name of company is being given. These CPU chips can process a minimum of 10 million polygons consumed per second and are usually in nearly every computer on the market today. Some GPU features were also integrated into certain CPUs. Traditional CPUs are structured with only a few cores. For example, the Xeon X5670 CPU has 6 cores. However, a modern GPU chip can be built with hundreds of processing core. High memory storage and wide area networking. This is another type of networking. But before going to another type, let us recall some of the point of GPU computing to exascale and beyond. Exascale refers to computing systems capable of at least 1 exaflops or a billion calculation per second. It is a graphics coprocessor or accelerator mounted on a computer's graphic card or video card. A GPU offloads the CPU from traditional graphics takes in video editing application. The world's first GPU, the GeForce 256, was marketed by NVIDIA in 1999. The GPU chips can process a minimum of 10 million polygons per second and are used in nearly every computer on the market today. Unlike CPUs, GPUs have a throughput architecture that exploit massive parallelism by executing many concurrent threads slowly instead of executing a single long thread in a conventional microprocessor very quickly. Today, the GPU has been upgraded to 128 cores on a single chip. Furthermore, each core on a GPU can handle 8 threads of instruction. This translates to having up to 1024 threads executing concurrently on a single GPU. This is very massive parallelism compared to only a few threads that can be handled by a thematical or conventional CPU. The CPU is optimized for latency caches while the GPU is optimized to deliver much higher output. The NVIDIA CUDA test or Fermi is used in GPU clusters or in HPS systems for parallel processing of massive floating point data. So this is all about the working of GPU. Now we come to memory storage and wide area networking. Memory technology can be defined as the capacity increase of disk arrays will be even greater in years to come. Faster processor speed and larger memory capacity result in a wider gap between processors and memory. The memory wall may become even worse, a problem limiting the CPU performance in the future. Eventually, power consumptions, cooling, and packaging will limit large system development. Power increases linearly with respect to clock frequency and quadratic alley with respect to voltage applied on chips. Clock rate cannot be increased indefinitely. Lowered value supplies are very much affected. Lower voltage supplies are actually in demand, so it is very much affected. System area interconnects is also one of the aspect. The nodes in small clusters are mostly interconnected by the Ethernet switch or a local area network. A LAN typically is used to connect client host to big server. A storage area network SAN connects servers to network storage such as disk array. Network attached storage NAS connects client host directly to the disk arrays. All three types of networks often appear in a large cluster built with commercial network component. If no large disrupted storage is shared, a small cluster could be built with a multi-port gigabit Ethernet switch plus copper cables to link the end machines. All three types of networks are commercially available. A storage area network is a specialized high-speed network that provides block-level network access to storage. Storage area networks are typically composed of hosts switches, storage requirement, and storage devices that are interconnected using a variety of technologies, topologies, and protocols. SAN may also span multiple sites. A SAN represents storage devices to a host such that the storage appears to be locally attached. This simplified representation of storage to a host is accomplished through the use of different types of virtualization. This is the diagrammatic representation of storage area network. Here client access LAN, different client machines are connected with client access LAN and application server A, B and so on is present. Application server is in the middle. It is the interface between client access LAN and storage access LAN. Usage of storage area network. Improve application availability. The availability of any application is improved with the help of storage area network. Enhance application performance. Example: offload storage function, segregate network, etc. Increase storage utilization and effectiveness, and improve data protection and security. Storage area network also typically play an important role in an organization's business continuity management BCM activities. This is the usage of storage area network. Virtual machine. Virtual machine is a computer file, typically called an image, which behaves like an actual computer. In other words, creating a computer within a computer. It runs in a window much like any other program, giving the end user the same experience on a virtual machine as they would have on the host operating system itself. The virtual machine is sandboxed from the rest of the system, meaning that the software inside a virtual machine cannot escape or tamper with the computer itself. This produces an ideal environment for testing other operating systems, including beta releases, accessing virus infected data, creating operating system backup, and running software or application on operating system for which they were not originally intended. This is the concept of virtual machine. Virtualization middleware. Virtualization middleware acts as intermediary that connects computers and devices to other applications. It can be a web server, application server, content management server, or other tools that support application development and delivery. It can also be a software application that connects two or more applications so that data can be shared between them. The virtual middleware acts or the primitive operations of virtual middleware are: in the first step, the virtual middleware can be multiplexed between hardware machine. Secondly, a virtual middleware can be suspended and stored in stable storage. Third, a suspended virtual machine can be resumed or provisioned to a new hardware platform. Finally, a virtual machine can be migrated from one hardware platform to another. Virtual machine approach will significantly enhance the utilization of server resources. Data center virtualization for cloud computing. A large data center may be built with thousands of servers. Smaller data centers are typically built with hundreds of servers. The cost to build and maintain data center servers has increased over the years. Data center visualization typically uses visualization software along with cloud computing technology to replace traditional physical server. High-end switches or routers may be too cost prohibitive for building data centers. Thus, using high bandwidth network may not fit the economics of cloud computing. Essentially, cloud computing is enabled by the convergence of technologies in four major areas. First, hardware visualization and multi core chips. Second, utility and grid computing. Then, SOA, Web 2.0, and WS mashups, and automatic computing and data center automation. Thank you for